I'm going to introduce you to my Cherry Blossoms Festivals. This is the third annual Cherry Blossoms Festivals. Last year was a little whack for reasons I think you might already know. And we actually missed the blossoms. So of course, David created a huge blossom cherry bough, which we hung over the table, widely spaced table. It was so beautiful that we actually left it up all year. Have you ever seen a cherry tree in bloom? They're all over New York City right now. But basically, your Cherry Blossoms festivals can be anytime you choose. Our Cherry Blossoms Festival menu is very bright and fun and spring-like. We're going to have mutineers on horseback, basically devils on horseback, but with a slight change. We're gonna make a maple glazed ham, maple bourbon glazed ham, and we're gonna have asparagus, spring asparagus, very beautiful, lovely, bright, yummy thing. We're gonna make a sort of German potato salad, which is a warm potato salad with a miracle sauce that is going to blow your mind. And then for dessert, we're gonna have a very special thing called summer fruitcake. Fruitcake in summer, you say? Well, it has summertime fruits and lemony flavors and brightness. Some people love it, some people don't like fruitcake. So let's go and have a Cherry Blossoms Festival. What is summer fruitcake? You know, I mean, it's essentially a lighter colored fruitcake, and it's not painted as much or preserved as much. So King Arthur Baking, what more can we say except thank God they exist, put out a new edition of their cookbook, this famous cookbook that a lot of people have, but it's new. In this book, they have something called a very light fruitcake, which I've been sort of messing around with, okay, which is the basic summer fruitcake. So the first thing you want to do with your summer fruitcake is the same thing you do with Christmas, or as Fanny would say, your Christmas cake, is you want to soak some fruit overnight in brandy. If you have friends who don't want cooked brandy, reason unknown, you can put orange juice in, but then you really have to put it in the fridge, whereas it's much better to macerate it out of the fridge. But anyways, you can macerate this for 3 days. You can macerate it for 3 hours. Ideal is 12 hours. And if you're not using juice, you can leave it outside of the fridge. And the dried fruits I used are pineapple, orange peel, dried cherries, dates, dried apricots. I tried to keep the colors light. And then I used, of course, some Fabry Amarena cherries. I mean, what's a cake without Amarena cherries? Just out of interest, one of the liquors that I used in my fruit soak was my own limoncello. I would suggest using something like limoncello as well as brandy to soak your fruit, because it brings that brightness that you want in a summertime fruitcake. I'm just gonna leave that while we prepare the rest of the cake, which is very, very easy. Now this produces a ton of batter. So I've prepared by lightly greasing 3 pans with a removable bottom. You don't need this. It makes it slightly easier, but you really don't need this, okay? But all I did was lightly grease these. 2 sticks of butter. This is plus gras, which means more fat. I love that. We had the most wonderful fan reach out to us and send us a present. Her name is Courtney Owens, and her roommates, Kate and Caroline. And they've been, apparently they love Dinner Party Tonight, which is fabulous. We're always so grateful for that. And they work, or Courtney works for the absolutely incomparable Diane von Furstenberg. Wow. And they sent me a wonderful book by her, her new book called Own It. And they are apparently going to attempt to cook through all our videos. And they've already sent us beautiful pictures of the spatchcock chicken. And Courtney, we're just thrilled. And her handle on Instagram is Corto Cooks. So go check it out. This is 2 sticks of butter. Now I'm gonna fold this like you know we do, and I'm gonna put it in the fridge, and I'm gonna use it to grease cake tins. I'm gonna put a little more butter in, only because I'm confident, because I'm a dinner partier. I think it needs a little more fat. So this is some sugar. I think it's a cup of regular sugar and a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. So I'm gonna throw that in. and just mix it until it's well incorporated, like we always say. You're going to put the baking powder in the first mix, which is unusual. Like we always tell you on Dinner Party Tonight, most people don't take this to as homogenized as it should be. They make it so that the butter is swirled around in the sugar and then they stop. That's not even enough right there. I'm going to put a little bit of gingerbread spice, just a little bit. So I'll read you what it is. Ginger, cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, and allspice. It saves, I think I've showed you this, it saves you from doing like this because it's already mixed together. King Arthur baking, of course. But I'm going to add a secret ingredient. Lemon juice powder. Lemon juice powder. How convenient, you say. Now I've discovered that 3 heaping teaspoons is good. But I might add more because I want it to be lemony. See how light? The color is totally different. It's homogenized. It's buoyant. It's not granular. All right, eggs. It takes 4 eggs. You should do them one at a time. 1, 2. Okay, I just put the 4 eggs in. I'm now going to put in some honey. So I'm not going to mess up a 1/4 cup. I'm going to do it by eye. I'm thinking of a 1/4 cup. So I'm looking at this and I'm going like this, right? Is it filled? That's 1. You really have to do this with the winter one because you use all those treacles, those black treacle and molasses and everything, and it's like everything is just all over your whole kitchen. I'm homogenizing those ingredients. I'm now going to add the flour, which might seem crazy. So this is 3 cups. Okay, I'm homogenizing it. I'm going to put in 3/4 of a cup of milk. It's going to loosen it up a little bit. You don't want to mix it too much because the flour's in there now. I'm going to taste it to make sure it's lemony enough. Needs more lemon. This stuff is so useful. I can't tell you. In this recipe, it's not so significant that it's dry, but there are some recipes where you just want, you don't want to add liquid to it, but you want lemon flavor. That's simply dehydrated lemon juice. All right, here we go. Here goes our fruit. Now, I used a lot of different liquors. They only want you to use a 1/4 cup, but I used a lot more than a 1/4 cup because I used a ton of fruit. So I'm not going to pour in all this liquid. I'm going to pour in some of this liquid. Look at that. Pretty interesting. Pecans. It's like 4,000 cakes, by the way. Don't overfill your pan because then it goes up and it makes a little muffin top, which you don't really want. It cooks at a very low heat because it's quite thick. And if you cook it at 350, it'll burn it. Try not to touch the sides. So I'm kind of cleaning the sides here so that it has a chance to rise. You just want to kind of clean the sides a little bit. Okay, I'm going to put these in the oven. It's at 350. When I put them in, I'm going to lower it. I'm going to put these 2 little guys in. I'm going to go back and get the other cake. And I'm going to lower this to 320. It's at least an hour. Check the small one, but it's so thick, it takes at least 1 hour for the big one, okay? Little cakes you have cooled, you're just like a cake jewel. Little cake. The cake's cooled. I use springform. So you're gonna lose some crust on the outside from the action of it pulling away. Don't try to do this when the cake is not cool. I've made this cake a few times. I don't know about the springform. I think it's a little aggressive for the beauty of the cake, you know? There we go. So it's very tender. It's so soft and sweet and yummy. I don't know if it needs liquor painting. Serve this with a little scoop of vanilla ice cream, a little whipped cream, summer fruitcake. Don't make a mistake. The other day, I wanted to make devils on horseback, which are bacon-wrapped dates. Well, I didn't have any dates, so we used prunes. And we were talking about the Bounty. The Bounty is famous because of basically Mel Gibson at this point, but the really important person in the Bounty story is Captain Bligh. So Captain Bligh, 1789, was the famous mutiny on the Bounty. Complex character. They put him in a little boat with, I think, 15 guys or 14 guys, and they gave him food for 5 days. And don't forget, we're in Tahiti. They just put them adrift. And this MRFer not only controlled those men to share the small amount of food that they had, which was basically nothing, and fish that like they caught with their hands or whatever, but he navigated 3,600 nautical miles in a skiff with 15 starving, murderous people to Timor, which is, it's if you look on a map, you cannot believe how he did that. It is the real story of the mutiny on the Bounty. So we're going to make, in respect to Captain Bligh, mutineers on horseback. And we're going to pierce them with a stick, which is what should have happened to the not Mel Gibson Fletcher Christian. You know, Mel Gibson makes him an awfully sympathetic character, but then again, so does Anthony Hopkins, who plays Bligh. For God's sake, you turned your back on me, man!
So damn your eyes, man! You turned your back on me!
Somebody wrote in, one of our beloved fans, Tom Sparks, wrote in with a great tip. We were par cooking the bacon, which is fine, you can do that, it's not a big deal. But he was saying if you pull the bacon with a knife like this, you have to be careful because it shreds. It thins the bacon out, you're so right. And you don't have to par cook it. So thanks, Tom. Take your prune, you're just gonna wrap your prune in bacon. Like that. Don't worry if it's messy because they tend to crisp up, you know, so they stick together. I'm gonna put a little pepper on this, just for the hell of it. Bligh, of course, never lived down the mutiny on the Bounty and had a very strange career after that. He went back to Tahiti, if you can believe that. The other thing they don't talk about is that what he was doing there was questionable, which is he was discovering if they could transport breadfruit to feed slaves on the Middle Passage. And I would put these in, what is it, 400 or something? You're just cooking bacon. The bacon juice then soaks the prune, and it's like, holy cow, all right? Mutineers on horseback. Mutineers on horseback are ready. So you want to, these take about 20 minutes, 15 minutes. Just think of cooking bacon. That's how long they take. But you want to drain them on a little cloth. People love these, but I just drain them a little bit so they're not running in grease, you know? Mutineers on horseback, in memory of Captain Bligh. Chew them up, my brother. If you want to have a dinner party, but you're in the super scared part of your life of giving dinner parties, buy a ham. This is ready to eat. Frankly, if you put a decent ham from a decent farmer in the oven with nothing on it and just crisped it up, it'd be just fine because it's a superb thing. It's smoked, it's fully cooked. I could put my hand in there and eat it like that. But I'm saying you can gussy it up a little bit. For years, I didn't buy the spiral cut, but now I'm like, why did I not buy spiral cut? It's so much easier for guests. Try to get bone in and try to buy responsibly. This is from a farm in the Catskills. So take it out of the fridge first thing in the morning of your cherry blossoms festivals, right? And let it come to room temperature or chambray. What I did was I lined this tray with tin foil and I put a grill here because it will weep a little bit of fat. And I'm going to make a glaze, which you don't have to do. I'm not even going to use a pan. I mean, this is how easy this is. Now, if nobody was filming me, I would simply pour the maple syrup on it and walk away. But I'm going to pretend to mix it for you guys. This is Maker's Mark. These little whisks, you buy them at what is it, a Crate and Barrel? Just buy a handful of these. You will use them for so much stuff. Okay, I'm gonna put a little bit of Aleppo pepper to make it especially yum. I put the oven on to 400 convection. All you're doing is heating this. So you're gonna look at it when it starts to sizzle and crispy and open a little bit and curl up. It's heated. You're done. The one thing you do not want to put on ham is salt because it's cured with salt, so it's quite salty. So I'm gonna just do this. Look how hard this is. Okay? Like what the H? You can't do that? I promise you, when we finish shooting today and you guys eat this, you're gonna die. Okay? That's it. You get some beautiful herbs and a nice rectangular tray. Don't tell the guests at my Cherry Blossoms Festival that it's the easiest thing on the table. I'm putting it in, as I said, to 400 convection until it looks crispy. Goodbye, little ham. Sorry you got killed. Now, honestly, if you're scared of Christmas, just buy ham. Stick cloves in it. You can put, what is it, pineapple slices on it? It's already cooked. It's like the goose at Christmas. It's a no-brainer. Let's make warm potato salad with a sauce that's gonna change your life. 4 weeks ago, Edgar, one of my actors, a genius writer, came out to the country with me and we had lamb. He requested lamb. I was like, oh yeah, mint sauce. And I looked up and I saw this recipe. I don't remember where I saw it, but I'm gonna tell you, it is divine and it couldn't be more simple. It has 3 ingredients: vinegar, sugar, and mint. Take a bunch of mint and you're gonna chop it. So you want the leaves more than the stems. Now you could substitute any herb that you would like and it would be equally good. But this one with the mint could go on potatoes, fish, lamb. You could use a food processor to do this, which I think I did actually. Okay, I'm gonna roll this into a kind of a cigar. I'm gonna chop it. Smell is divine. You know, mint, if you grow mint, you have a garden, don't grow mint outside of a container. Because mint is something called a rhizome, which means it shoots roots this way, and a plant can come up from anywhere along on the root. So you can have, basically your garden can turn into a mint garden. I turned the pile and I'm chopping it again. So you shouldn't have green here. If you have green here, it means your knife is blunt or your herb is too wet. Chopped mint. So I boiled some potatoes, which you guys know how to do because you're dinner partiers. You take new potatoes and you boil them for 9 minutes, drain them, put them back in the pot with no water and put a cloth over the top. That's how you cook new potatoes. I'm gonna go back to the stove and what am I gonna do? I'm going to combine a half a cup of vinegar. I'm gonna use a combination of apple cider and white wine vinegar, with a 1/4 cup of sugar. And I'm gonna melt the sugar in the vinegar. And then I'm gonna put the mint in, and that's it. 1/4 cup of sugar. So I guess it's a gastrique. It's essentially a gastrique. Half a cup combination of apple cider and white wine vinegar. Kind of boil this to melt the sugar. I'm not gonna put any pepper or anything in it, but you can. You can also substitute tarragon, basil, anything you want. Do you guys know, I just want to take a poll. Be honest, don't lie, okay? And you guys also respond below. Have you guys ever heard of the historical thing called the Lost Dauphin? No. Anyone? No. Okay. Well, me either. And I'm learning about it now. And it is the most extraordinary story, which I'm not going to tell you. So I'm just sort of swirling it a little bit, reducing the heat, and putting in the mint. Now, once you do this, You're gonna kind of swirl this around and you're gonna leave it to kind of infuse, and it gets thicker in a weird way. It's hard to describe. And then you just leave it on the stove and it turns into sauce. Perfect for potato salad. Perfect for fish. It's bright. It's vinegar. It's bright, but it's really, really good. So check out this guy, Samuel A. Mister. We don't know what your real name is. Sent me a video of him and his wife, their Christmas, that they used a lot of Dinner Party Tonight ideas. First of all, it was completely chic. And secondly, I could not have been more touched by that. And he asked me to think of a cocktail with chartreuse, which I might show you. Okay, that's it. It's done. Mint sauce. So this should be served warm, okay? Not cold and not hot. What I'm gonna do before service is I'm gonna take the cloth off of this because it's been steaming like this, right? And I'm gonna put them in this bowl and I'm gonna pour the infused sauce over them. And they're gonna look beautiful. You could, in theory, you could put the sauce on it now and just let it sit, or you could even serve it cold. It's kind of up to you, but it should be served slightly warm. Asperge, who would dare to disparage the asperge, America, my home. Asparagus. Spring is asparagus season. The smaller the better. The tighter the sweater, the boys depend on us. You remember that? Asparagus. Couldn't be simpler, you guys. Some people love it. Has to be prepared correctly, though. So I'm sort of lining up the stems, the tops, which are the yummy part. This pinkish part and the white area, you want to cut that because it's like stringy a little bit. So you want to cut the ends. Beautiful. I washed these. I rinsed them. Oh, did you? Yes, I did. I banged me gavel. And what we're going to do is we're going to steam it in sort of buttery water. And then we're going to take them out and we're going to reduce the buttery water and lemon, and we're going to pour it over them. This takes a very short time. And you're going to use one of them to tell when it's done. It should be yummy, but still crunchy. When it's soft, it's narpy. I recently found a postcard from my mother. Hold on a second. This is the postcard that my mother sent me. It's of a donkey. And this is what she wrote. Dear Randall, sometimes you see these dear donkeys with huge loads, 1 or 2 people riding, and sometimes pulling carts. They are also a great many goats, which are used for milk, cheese, and their coats. Everybody here is very friendly and seems so happy and prosperous. I miss you all, Mommy. Now, here's the clincher. She wrote this in 1967. I was 4. Basically, I have a little pan with a little bit of water in it, and we're just gonna go and steam these. Your ham could be out. Your potatoes could even be dressed. You could be 4 minutes from service when you do this, 5 minutes maybe, okay? So let's go do it. This is lightly boiling. I'm putting some lemon juice. I'm gonna put a little vermouth in here. You could put a little white wine in here if you wanted. Little salt, peu de sel. And I'm gonna put in a rather sizable knob of butter. So I'm gonna let this come down a little bit. They steam for about 4 to 5 minutes, tops. I wish I had a steam basket. Why don't I have that? Doesn't matter. I'm just gonna keep them moving slightly. So here we go. You'll see them change into sort of a very vibrant green. And oh, they're getting yummy. You don't wanna overcook these. That's the #1 thing, okay? Put a poivre, another squeeze of lemon. Let's let that go for a couple minutes and we're done. Brian and Regina run the social media for DPT. So they took me out to lunch and they gave me this as a present. It's from Rough Linen, beautiful, amazing rough linen. Everything Trisha makes is gorgeous. And this was a limited run, this color. I think it's so beautiful. Thanks, Regin B. So it's starting to get a little bit soft. Oh. Wow. I would serve them at this doneness. I'm going to remove the asperge. Asparagus is ready. I'm reducing this a little bit. I don't really need to. I can just spoon over a little bit. Squirting some lemon on here, just because I really want to keep the Kelly green. And that will preserve the color. I'm just going to put a little of this on. It doesn't have to be fully reduced. I mean, that's, I don't know, it's pretty divine. Asperge. Who would dare to disparage the asperge? Potatoes, common sense issue timing-wise. It's 9 minutes to boil them, and then you drain them and steam them until you can handle them, basically. So how long is that? So you want them to be slightly warm. Mine are slightly warm. I'm gonna cut them in half. This should not be put in the fridge unless you really want cold salad. I'm cutting sort of generous sizes. The little teeny weeny potatoes, they didn't have them today, so. And also the cut side will absorb the dressing a little bit more. Oh, another fan wrote us the most beautiful note. Sohini Carr, I hope I'm saying your name right. Wow, that meant the world to me. Okay, there's the potatoes, and here's the mint sauce. I'm just gonna kind of go like this, and I'm gonna pour it in. This is served room temperature. Okay, here we go. Now you can cut a little fresh mint over this so there's a brighter green, because obviously the mint sauce is dark green. But I don't think you're gonna have a hard time selling this. Let's put it that way. Cleaning. Never send it dirty. Potato salad. Come on. Here's your ham. Looking pretty good. Heated all the way through, slightly crispy. You can serve it on here, or you can pick it up and put it on a platter. This is a very simple and quick centerpiece for any meal, surrounded with succulent greens, things like that. It's lovely. Ham. So today for Cherry Blossoms Festivals, we made delightful mutineers on horseback, devils on horseback with prunes, in honor and respect to Captain Bligh, with lightly steamed Kelly green asparagus, mint sauce room temperature potato salad, and a baked ham glazed with maple syrup, bourbon, and honey. And then for dessert, we're gonna have a summer fruit cake. It has summertime fruits and lemony flavors. What more can you ask for? Cherry Blossoms Festivals. Why not have your own? Make up a festival. We have Midwinter Mood Booster. We have Cherry Blossoms. We have obviously Thanksgiving and Christmas. You can have a lot of special festivals. Make traditions. I'm telling you, people love that stuff. You know, you get together on the marker, talk about what happened in the last couple months, things like that. So make your own festivals. Life should be a festival. It's a banquet. Little cakes you have cooled, you're just like a cake jewel. Little cake.